We're back with Yvette Grove, who is realtor extraordinaire and author of Lily's Delicious. I love this, her different day. And what's wonderful about Lily is that she is very diverse and she brings in many types of people, many cultures, and many viewpoints. So let's talk about Yvette personally now. What is your greatest joy, Yvette?
People. I
People.
love, be, besides my children, and I just got to see one of them this weekend, but I just love meeting new people, connecting people. That's really, to be more specific, connecting people, bringing people to the table. I have a very diverse group of friends myself. People joke, you are Lily. Um, in Dallas, that's uncommon, but I have a wonderful array of deliciously different friends, and so bringing people together is probably my greatest joy, and connecting them to themselves.
Well, of course, I love people too. I have to say that animals are a close first there because I always say, of course, I love being with people. And of course, that's something I'm not able to do and haven't been able to do for the last many months. But you could give me, well, adults I'm fine with. I'm not the greatest with kids, but you can give me 100 dogs or cats, and I'll have them all lined up doing a
Okay.
dance. But I enjoy people too, and that's interesting. You were talking before about the disc profile, and I'm definitely a high I backed up by a high D, and then my S and C are somewhere, somewhere I don't know where. And so therefore I get along great with people who are able to make decisions. I get along great with
Okay.
people who like to be around other people, but I'm not necessarily a detailed person. And that's the person I need in my life to keep me organized, who I did have when I had my other businesses. And they also drive me crazy because
Yes.
they are so organized. But people are a great joy. And so, what would you say keeps you from living regret free at times? I mean, I'm thinking about decisions I make, and do I second guess myself, and do I have regrets? Um, what do you find might give you the idea not to be able to live regret free at that moment?
Um, a lot of it has been the mistakes I've made that affected my children. That was the most difficult. And then um, I about 4 years ago, several things happened right after the book came out, including my biological father, who did not raise me. My stepdad did. Uh, Passed away, and there was just a lot. Just this storm right afterwards. But he kind of died broken alone, and I started having panic attacks that next year. I never had a panic attack. I'm a
Even though
high I. I'm
you really never knew him, right?
No, I knew him better than most people, but he just was not a father figure. We called him Gringo Dave. He was a lot of fun when he wanted to be, but he's very distant and lived in Mexico, and um, but loved me at the level that he was capable of. But he died broken alone, and it triggered this fear in me that I was going to die broken alone. And I started having panic attacks, which I'd never had. I really was regretting all the mistakes I'd made with my kids, and they were at that age where they kind of shared how they felt about a lot of it, and it just had devastated me. And I I had a tough time coming out of it, and I'm still coming out of it, because my life that I wanted was to have kids, and to have a house full of kids always, and I did. I mean, our house. I, One of my son's friends just got engaged the other day, and his two best friends from middle school and high school were there, and they were telling their girlfriends how Yvette's door was always open. We'd just show up, and we're always, spending the night there or hanging out there. And I had this house full of kids, and I loved it. And then I was married. I thought I'd stay married and have grandkids. And so here I found myself single again. Um, my kids were grown and out of the house. And even though I have a great career, it just was this weird transition of you know, where do I go from here? And when I took this job, I had been working independently for 20 years. I'd always just kind of worked on my own. And they said, "Are you sure you want to, a regular job?" And I said, "I need a family to take care of." So,
That's so interesting that you say that, Yvette, because I know, of course, I've never really worked for anybody else. And I know I would not make a good employee. Well, I would make a great employee if I thought what I was doing was correct. But if someone told me to do something that I did not think was right, or I couldn't see the value of it, I would have a tough time with that. So it is interesting that you went back to find this family, a work family, after 20 years of being independent. I mean, that's quite a maneuver in its own.
it is, and I'm very blessed because you were talking about being a high I and we need the C's. My C is at the bottom of the barrel, like it doesn't exist. And in fact, but I have a couple of people on staff here that are very high C's, and we have this culture of it's supposed to be that way. Bart is our compliance officer. He's a high C, and we're the yin and yang of each other.
And he better be a high C as a compliance
Yeah, exactly.
For those of you who are listening who don't know what a high C is, it's a very detailed, analytical person. Just to give you a brief, Ds are very high driven and make instant decisions and don't want any of the details. High Is are people like Yvette and I who are, we're people, and we love to be around people, and we love to gatherings, and we don't ever meet a stranger and that type of person. The S is somebody who we need in our lives just to keep us together because they do everything for everybody. They're wonderful, wonderful, caring people. They don't necessarily like to make decisions, but they are very caring. And then, of course, the C is the I, detailed and the analytical person. So go ahead, Yvette.
So Bart, is always like, I don't want to do what you do. I don't want to do what he does. So we really value, we live out what I teach, which is to value each other's differences. So we really value each other instead of get frustrated with each other. And we appreciate the fact that we, and I have this autonomy to be who I am and coach in the way that I want to, that I believe works. And so I'm in a very fortunate situation. And it's why I didn't choose the large corporate company, because it would have been more about quotas and stuff like that. But I'm so not detailed that our compliance officer, when I'm talking him through a problem, I speak in cliff notes. And so he'll go, wait, start at the beginning. You have the buyer, the seller. You'll have to like go back and get all the details that I just, skipped through. And
Correct.
In fact, he gave me an award at our award ceremony for the wait, start at the beginning.
I love that.
But I'm a very high I with a good amount of S and a little bit of D, but I have no C in me. And I appreciate details and I appreciate the people that can do them. But and I can force myself into them, but it's like clipping my wings. It sucks the life out of me. And we're, one of the things, again, I love about being here is we teach the agents, most real estate agents that get into real estate are I's. And they talk themselves out of getting an assistant because they think, oh, I can't afford to. And Mike and I are always like, no, you can't afford not to, because details suck the life out of you. And if you would take that time, hire somebody to do your details and your paperwork and go out and be the high I, you'll do double the business. And the couple of agents we helped staff their team and get them assistance this past year have just their revenues have grown because they're doing what they do best, and they're leaving that other minutia stuff to the people that do that best. Now, we do have some high C's that are great realtors. It's just a slower ramp up for them, and it looks differently. It looks different. So it's, again, I help kind of mold them into, okay, as a C, you're not going to go in and work a room like I will. I can work a room like nobody's business. My greatest claim to fame and connecting because probably my superpower is connecting. Um, I was in Miami at the Chamber of Commerce meeting, and there's hundreds of people at that Chamber of Commerce meeting. And my friend Joe Pineda, who was my mentor from Nova Southeastern, was sitting next to me, and he said, "I want you to meet so and so," and he introduced me. And that guy goes, I need an architect from Uruguay." I said, "Hold up." Ran across the room, grabbed another guy I knew that was an architect from Uruguay, brought him over, and Joe Pineda, who was the connector of all connectors, helped build the University of Miami. And he looked at me, he said, "Girl, you just outdid me."
Well, it's funny. You mentioned Nova Southeastern, which is where I got my doctorate, and getting that was a C exercise, and I did not do well at it. I rewrote my dissertation 11 times because you're supposed to write Jack and Jill went up the hill and found a pail of water, and I wrote Jack and Jill went up the hill, and they got very thirsty, and so therefore, and I would, no. And luckily, I hired a typist who knew how to put a dissertation together. And she made a lot of money off of it because I rewrote that thing 11 times. But I finally got it, and they can call me Dr. Gayle now. But I can tell you, I understand exactly what you're saying. So how did you let go of the things that were bothering you? That, I think, is a lesson our listeners would like to hear.
It is a daily practice is what it is. And we can be so hard on ourselves, and then we compare ourselves, and we, I've relived every mistake I've made. And there was a part of me that felt like, well, if I don't carry this burden of, then, justice hasn't been done. I'm a Libra, so I like justice. So, if I just move on, then I haven't paid the price, right, for hurting my children. And my son looked at me and he said, "I don't want you to apologize. I want you to live your life." And I remember one time.
See, so your kids turned out all right, Yvette.
I have two amazing sons. One time I was frustrated with my mother. I'm like, "Please want better for yourself." And I felt like I had a tap on the shoulder, like, "Hello." So it's a process, and one is living in the moment, right? So when you're living in the past, you're living in regret. That's why I love the name of your show, Regret Free. And when you're living in the future, you're living in anxiety. So I have to stop myself and go, okay, I'm right here, right now, and my kids are okay, and they'll have moments they're not okay, and we'll work through it. But I can't undo that, and there is purpose in all of it. It will, but it's a daily, practice of being in the moment and living enough. I've recently stumbled across the work of Byron Katie, and also there's a great book called the Surrender Experiment. Both very good, but it's about teaching you the mindfulness of being in the presence. But what I like about Byron Katie is she said, you're not going to stop that mind chatter. So what she has you do is kind of hack it. Like you start questioning it. Is that true? Can I really know that to be true? And what would my life be like if I didn't hold on to that belief? And
what you're saying, Yvette, is so important, is that you're never done. That's the point, that you're never done. You're never done learning. You're never done growing. You're never done being. And that is so important. People kind of give up. They say, well, this always happens to me, or that's just my luck. Or, well, some people are like, oh, I never won anything. Some people win everything. It's really waking up every day knowing, first of all, that you're going to have a great day. And number two, that if anything happens during that day, that you can take a look at it and say, okay, why is this happening now? What can I do to change it? How can I make it better? Rather than saying, poor little me, this always happens. It makes a big difference in how you perceive it.
It does. And you've shared part of your story with us in the mastermind. And like I said, you are such an example of all of this. Of we have different seasons in our life, and you've embraced all these seasons, and you've just, grown roses from ashes over and over again. And part of it is realizing, so Byron Katie's work is loving what is. So being right now, this is a tough time for a lot of people. Let's get real. And for eyes, it's tough, but also for the introverts, it's tough because even though they kind of like to be alone, now they're forced to be, and they still need community. We all need community, and getting it through technology does not feed my soul like, being in, around the energy of people. And for you, I can't imagine you're because of your immune compromise. I know you're tough, but we have to reach out to each other. The biggest thing I've told my agents this year is you don't have to sell anybody, just love on them. Everybody is right now struggling, but you were talking earlier, there was something you said that made me think about this. When COVID first hit and then the oil crash and all that, in the first few weeks of this, there was some severe panic of, oh my gosh, what are we going to do about school? What are we going to be doing about that, this and that? And then when we stopped, the earth started breathing. Water became clear, animals were dancing. The change in our earth was magnificent. And I thought, if we could not be in panic mode and we could slow down a minute and go, okay, what if a lot of what we are doing isn't really working? We just are used to doing it this way. What if we reinvented the way we did a lot of these things? And in my prayer, my hope was that we would rethink some of these things. Like, do we need to be so busy? No, we all survived not being so busy. And some of us thrived with it. There were families that never spent that much time together. I think right now they're ready, um,
That's so true because you hear, when the interviews are on TV and so forth, they say, I'm really loving being home with my kids and getting to know them and spending dinner with them every night and so forth and so on. I know sometime it's going to get old, but right now people are really appreciating that. And, what you said was really true. I had forgotten about the fact that our waters cleared up and that our atmosphere improved and those kinds of things. And I wish we could do that with everything that's happening with climate change. And we're seeing that. We're seeing that with the fires. We're seeing that with the hurricanes that we need to take control of this climate change.
yeah.
But the things that you're saying are so true. So what's next for Yvette?
um, Trying to figure out this platform, and if any of your listeners have ideas, I big believer in giving the market what they want, but um, my passion is really to help people to see their value and the values of others and come to the table. Um, Children's books are a great way to do that because really picture books are ageless. I'm able to go into high schools, into middle schools, and share the same story. Maybe I'm talking to them about how to publish a book or the process of it or how to write a book, but the message of Lily resonates with them probably even more than the preschoolers because they're living it, but really bringing that message, bringing us to a place where we realize that our differences are something to celebrate, that they're essential. And how do we seek understanding? So I'm creating that platform. I want to do it through play and literature and activities that bring families together as well to have these conversations. I believe the conversations have to be at home. Um, to improve myself as a coach and hopefully travel again one day more, soon.
Yeah, one day we'll be getting on planes again.
Yeah.
So is Lily going to remain an avocation, or do you think that you will eventually leave real estate. We have about 5 minutes left, so I want to make sure we get all the what's going to happen to Yvette into this. So where is Yvette going? I mean, are you going to continue? Let's say that Lily takes off, and all these other plans for your creativity take off. Are you going to remain in real estate, or are you going to concentrate on the lilies?
At this point, I don't know. I can't imagine never, not coaching, because it's who I am. And a lot of people are like, oh, they're so different, but really they all are birthed from the same place for me is, who are you? Let's nurture and grow and help you flourish. And so in the books, produce that as well. So right now I'm just taking it a day at a time. If, I guess retirement to me would be writing books and, working with creative teams,
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. So let's find out, where are they going to be able to get Lily's Delicious Different Day? How can they find you, Yvette? What's your website, et cetera? Do you have a free gift for any of our listeners? Let's find out about those things.
Okay, so if you can order from Amazon, but if you go to my website, mydeliciously differentworld.com, or liliesdeliciously differentworld.com, and you order the book, I will send you a signed copy with a collectible finger puppet with one of the main characters, which is a hummingbird, Ruby. So mydeliciously differentworld.com or liliesdeliciously differentworld.com. You can find me on Facebook under My Deliciously Different World or Yvette Grove. Pretty easy to find. And then I also have YvetteGrove.com if you're interested in having me speak or read or do a training or coaching. So that's the easiest way to find me.
That's fantastic. Well, now we've got, as I say, about maybe 2 minutes left. What have we not talked about, or what have you not said that you would like to get out to our audience, or that you think that they should know? Or is it just, living life the way you're supposed to live it?
I would say, follow Gayle. Like, you live life so fully, and that's the thing is, what can you do today to live today to the fullest? How can you show up today, and no matter what's going on around you and around us in this world, what can you do today to show up and know I can breathe? I've got water, I've got air, and I am enough. And then step into that. Just step into that. And we all have to encourage each other to do that. We all have days that we don't want to do that. Sometimes we like to hide, and we find different ways to hide, but find the people that inspire you to live no matter what is going on. And Gayle, you're such an example of that. Most people probably don't even know all that you're going through and that you've been through, but you show up every day and you go, okay, how can I live my best life right now? And maybe that's just, showering and putting on some mascara, or maybe it's, right now I'm going to, eat chocolate ice cream.
Right now it's sitting with a cat in my lap.
There you go.
It's so funny. I know my listeners and followers, they know how I am with animals. And I have this one cat, the 12-year-old, and he just, wherever I'm sitting, I can be in bed, I can be on the couch, I can be in this chair in front of the computer, and he's on my lap. So that's how I keep going. Well,
that's how he's living his best life, right? He's like, this is what brings me joy.
That's true. That's true. Well, folks, you've heard it here. You've listened to Yvette. If you want to get a hold of her, you can go to her website. She's got a couple of different ones. She has one that's for the book, which is My Deliciously Different World. You can also find her at Yvette Grove on Facebook, also Deliciously Different World on Facebook as well, and Instagram, Twitter, Yvette Grove. Thanks so much for being with us today, Yvette. We have loved having you.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, this is Dr. Gayle, and I wanted you to know I have a whole bunch of other things to offer you. If you go to spunkyoldbroad.com, you will see an array of SOB stuff for sale and all our latest products and additions. If you're interested in getting on TV, I have a brand new course, Get on TV. And if you want to start your own business, you'll want my SOB Guide to Business Success. I know you'll love them all. I guarantee it.